Okay, have you ever gone to a garden center and noticed some trees and shrubs in pots ready to plant while others are not in any pots at all? They sort of look just like sticks with bare exposed roots. Well, those are actually called bare root trees, but once planted, they'll grow and flourish just like the potted ones. Our very own garden master, Jim Duthie, visited a local garden center to get the bare facts about bare root trees for today's You Can Grow It.
It's been a long winter and a cold start to spring, but it will eventually start warming up. But now's the best time to plant bare root trees, whether fruit trees or ornamentals, and bare root berry bushes as well. Joining me today is Lindsay Schramm from North End Organic Nursery to talk about bare root trees and how's the best way to plant them. So Lindsay, we're talking to bare root trees, which means it's just not in a pot, right? What's the advantage and what's the difference between a bare root and a potted tree?
Well, this is not bare as in B-E-A-R. This is bare as in naked. And what we have are naked roots here. Often when we find trees later on in the season, they're going to be in a big 15-gallon pot or more with lots of potting soil. It takes a lot to transport them. It takes a lot to keep them alive, takes up space. All the things that cause more expense on your tree, where this is actually the happier way for the tree to go into the ground. Ideally, what we want to do is get this guy into the soil before it breaks dormancy. And people are often worried that is it too cold to plant a tree? And if you can put a shovel into the ground, you can plant, it's great, it's ready to go. It's asleep and it wants to wake up in its new home.
Bare root trees are easier to transport and move around, and they're less expensive since you're not paying for a container, soil, labor, and shipping. This happens to be a peach tree, but you can get bare root trees in all different varieties of fruits and some ornamentals. And in the end, the tree is going to flourish the same way a potted tree is going to do. You won't know the difference after a couple of years.
You won't know the difference after a couple of years. They are not any smaller or less mature because they're bare root. They've literally just been grown in the ground, and instead of dug up and put into a pot, they've been dug up and sent to us.
New trees, bare root or potted, should be pruned when they're planted, particularly fruit trees, so that when they start producing, the fruit will be lower in the tree and easier to reach.
But I'm going to go down here and I'm going to find some branches that are nice and low, hopefully around 3 feet. I've got branches going in different directions, and I'm just going to make a nice clean cut here. Okay, making a nice clean cut there. But this is all the tree I want. This is going to give me fruiting down below, so when it's ready to be harvested, I'm not up there fighting the squirrels and the birds for my fruit. I can compete well.
And it opens up a little bit more to let the ventilation through and the sunlight through to ripen the fruit.
That first cut is the most important cut of any prune when you are putting in your home orchard.
And then you can take the top part you cut off and you can plant that, right? Just kidding.
Yes. Slightly late April Fools there.
Before planting your tree, check the roots. You may need to clip off dead pieces and wayward long roots. Dig the planting hole about as wide as the root system.
So you want to put it in the ground right at that graft, so that you see all the roots are going to be exposed, and then you put it there right at that line, fill it back up with native soil and native soil only. If you want to mend the soil at all, do it on top. Add a nice layer of compost so that it holds the nutrients in. And what happens if you put this in the ground with either potting soil or compost or any other kind of rich soil is that the tree will eventually have to get into the native soil. And when it hits the sides of that area where you've been planting it, it doesn't like it as much, and it turns back around.
Kind of a shock.
It's a shock to the system, and it wants to have that nutrient-dense soil, so it starts circling on itself.
The result is girdling of the roots instead of the roots spreading out from the tree. So Lindsay, you said it's not just trees that you can plant bare root, but also different kinds of berry plants.
You can do berry plants, you can do horseradish, you can do asparagus. I've got asparagus crowns here. This is horseradish. Bare root strawberries is a great way to get a great selection of berries at a cheaper price again, and they're actually more mature than what you're going to get in those 6-pack. You have a lot more root system there.
All right, that's a lot of good information about bare root trees and berry bushes, but you want to act quickly because we'll soon be seeing these plants come out of dormancy, and you need to get them planted right away. And remember, you can grow it. For Idaho's News Channel 7, I'm Jim Duthie with Lindsay Schramm.
So as you saw, bare root trees offer some real advantages over potted trees and shrubs. Most garden stores do have a big selection of bare root trees and plants right now, but as Jim mentioned, they do need to be planted soon since they will not be dormant much longer as the weather warms up. For some tips on pruning fruit trees, we have a link to a video by Lindsay, who Jim talked to. You can find that in the story on our website, ktvb.com. I also want to give a major shout out to our photojournalist, Teresa Palmgren, who shot and edited that photo, worked so closely with Jim Jim Duthie and Larry Gebert, who passed away. Teresa passed away yesterday. It has been a really tough loss for our newsroom and our entire community, and we just want to thank everybody for reaching out with their kind words of support. We've got a beautiful tribute to her coming up at about 4:48 right here on the News at 4.